What does that mean? That's a term I made up, actually. But it's a concept that comes from financial inflation. So for those of you who don't know what that is, financial inflation is the fact that every year money gets less and less valuable. That happens because a couple different factors. One, there's more money in circulation, right? So that as time happens, as time goes on, money gets cheaper and cheaper in terms of what the value is in the world market. And that's why things seem to cost a lot more now than it did 10 years ago or 15 years ago. They do. They cost the same essentially in overall money, but inflation makes everything seem like it costs a lot more. A lot of times we just figure we'll just stay the same person and grow and just naturally over time. And maybe that's true. Maybe we will. But if you're not intentional about it, then you run the risk of running into personal inflation. I mean, do you know someone who does the exact same stuff that they did 10 years ago or 5 years ago? They don't really grow. They haven't grown at all. They're just exactly in the same job, same interests. They haven't really done a whole lot in terms of their personal life. They haven't done a whole lot in their professional life. They haven't really adopted anything or learned anything new. That person's the same person they were. And after a while, that can get kind of boring. I mean, there are good people out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything wrong about that person. They might be fun to hang out with. But ultimately, if you're on the path to growing yourself and building a business, you want folks who are able in your network to support you and to understand your path and understand where you're going with that. And that can get frustrating sometimes because a lot of people who stay in that trap, so to speak, of that personal inflation trap, they're less and less valuable in skills wise in the marketplace. Josh, thanks for sharing, man. I struggle with this. It's safe to say in the same spot. Growing can be scary. Absolutely, man. 100%. I mean, growing involves putting yourself out there. Growing involves trying something new and possibly failing at it. Growing involves getting out of your comfort zone. That's all really scary stuff. It's all stuff that gets you out of your comfort zone, right? I mean, but the path to growth is on that comfort zone. And so I wouldn't even look at it as personal inflation compared to anyone else, right? I would never say to judge yourself by anyone else's rubric or anyone else's, standards. Judge it by your own standards. If you're not improving yourself for the sake of improving yourself, if you're competing against yourself from last year and you're exactly the same as what you were last year, what does that say? You can get better at building campfires. You can get better at hunting. You can get better at fishing. You can get better at survival. You can always get better is what I'm saying. So for whatever's meaningful to you, find ways and means to get better, to improve yourself, and don't succumb to personal inflation.